It's just me. It's just me here by myself. So let me see here. How you doing? I guess the question is, why am I here? There we go. Okay. So I'm here because I owe y'all a video, a follow-up video to the previous conversation that we had in regards to the debate that my co and I watched a few weeks ago, probably about a month ago, something like that. So we came on, we tried to address absolutely everything. There was one thing that we forgot to address. So shalom, Natai, shalom from Fort Worth, love, truth, shalom, Zay, how y'all doing? So I wanted to address something because shalom, Tart 70. There was one section of scripture that both parties on that debate got incorrect. It is some New Testament verses, and I wanted to go over the difference in these verses because they were both wrong. Even the sister who vibrated actual Israelite, but I don't think she actually is, like upon further slight investigation, not necessarily. So I don't really know. I don't know these people like that. So they didn't get the verse right. She tried to tackle it and it wasn't good. I'm sitting here, I'm like, no, but we totally forgot. So, okay. So let's see here. The verses, and the reason I have my head wrapped right now is because I am going to be dipping into scripture a little bit here. So I just want to make sure that I am, I guess, in order with that. So here we go. Let's see here. The verses that they were talking about, and there's actually one more that I'm going to include in this. I'm going to go like basically a step further for everybody here. The verses that they were talking about are found in 1 Timothy 3:12 and Titus 1:6. And these verses are talking about men in positions of authority in the assembly, in the church. Okay. So deacons is one definition, bishops is another definition. Some Bibles say overseer, but these are the verses that we're looking at. The verse in 1 Timothy essentially says, let the deacons be the husband of one wife, ruling their children in their own houses as well. Timothy 1:6 says, if any be blameless, and it put in parentheses, bishop, the husband of one wife, having faithful children, not accused of riot or unruliness. Okay. They look at that and they say that men, therefore, in positions of authority in the assembly are only to have one wife. Well, that is incorrect. What we have to understand is the Bible has been translated, and it's been translated over and over and over again. And we have to accept the fact that the English versions that we read today, no matter how eloquent they typically are, cannot encompass the meanings and the Hebraic idioms and the culture that was going on back there in that time. So we have to keep that in mind. We also have to keep in mind the fact that English is one language, Greek is another, Latin is another, and Hebrew is still another language. And they have different levels of depth and means of explanation. All right. So when it comes to these verses, they're focusing on the one wife thing. The word one in both of these verses is the Greek word mia, and I'm probably not pronouncing none of this correct, but mia can be found in the Strong's Concordance and probably in other places as well. Okay. And the English version is just translated as one, but that's not necessarily the gist of it. It's not a numerical one. In fact, when you look it up, Even a small one. Okay. In fact, when you look it up, it's going to say things like first or at least one. Okay. Um, and when you look in the Strongs, you'll see that the they'll show you all the other places that that these words show up in the Bible. So another place that the word Mia is used is in Matthew 28 and 1. And so I'm gonna read it to you, and I'm gonna show you the difference. So Matthew 28 and 1, it says, in the end of the Sabbath, as it began to dawn towards the first day of the week, came Mary Magdalene and the other Mary to see the sepulchre. So you hear that first in Matthew is Mia. But over in these other verses, Mia is translated as one. So they're thinking one wife. There is no way that either of the Marys could have gone to the sepulchre on the one day of the week. It has to be the word first. So first is a better translation. So if you put first in there, when you read it, it says, let the deacons be the husbands of a first wife, ruling their children and their own houses as well. First is going to connote that there are going to be or are more than one wife in the household. And it makes a lot of sense because you have to understand, I said it in one of my other videos, and the sister didn't like it. I said the Most High, Yahweh, is a polygynist. He says it in scripture that he is married to Israel and Yehuda. And this person tried to argue with me, but I gave her all the verses. And I could do that, but I don't have them sitting in front of me right now. So he's a polygynist. The Messiah is also flexing polygynist because he chooses to use the 10 bridesmaids parable to talk about how we're supposed to stay ready for him to return, how we're supposed to always be prepared. So anybody who's going to be leading a group of the Most High's people needs to at least be married to one wife, his first wife. And he can be married to more wives as he so chooses, because a married man understands the responsibility that it goes into for caring for groups of people and for another person. Scripture says that a man is supposed to love his wife like his own body, and he's supposed to love his wife the way the Messiah loves the church. That's a lot of love and responsibility. That's a lot. And a single man does not understand that. And I don't care how many girlfriends he's had out here in the world, he's not going to understand that. It's a completely different level of responsibility. I know people like to say that it's not, but it is. You've been here for years and years and years. It's a lot of responsibility. So a single man won't have that. And, a divorced man might have experienced it at sometimes, but I guess we could all kind of say that a divorce is a bit of a failure. So it's one of those things where, if he's gotten divorced and if he's been divorced in the past, he probably needed to step down and reassess himself and reassess his situation and the way he is and just what happened in that, and be accountable for some things, and then, maybe come back into leadership. But I'm basically saying that a deacon, a bishop, a leader, all these people, they need to have more than one wife. So, I mean, that's that on that part. Let's see here. What else did I have for y'all? And then I will go to the comments because I see y'all talking, but I can't see what y'all saying right now. So just give me 1 second. Okay. The other verse that people like to use that says own, and this one says own, and it says own twice. Okay. So it's First Corinthians 7:2. Nevertheless, to avoid fornication, let every man have his own wife, and let every woman have her own husband. Okay, so they hear that, and they hear own, and they see own 2 times, and they see that the spousal genders are switched, and so they think that it means the same thing for both people in the marriage. And it actually does not. Once again, we're talking about Greek, okay? And there's a lot of stuff that's going on in the Greek language that is not going on in English. There's a whole lot of stuff going on in Hebrew. Like I keep saying, it ain't going on in either one of these. So let's investigate, shall we? You can look it up in the Strongs if you like. The first situation, let every man have his own wife. The word own there in Greek is something that I can't pronounce. Hetau. And the other part, her own husband, is using the word idios. Okay. So that already makes it clear that it's two different types of own. Okay. The first one, his own wife, hieto, trying to pronounce it. It means something belonging exclusively to oneself. So, what belongs exclusively to you? Your hand belongs exclusively to you. Your arm, your legs belong your eyes belong exclusively to you and to nobody else. Okay, so that means that that woman right there belongs exclusively to him. Let's look at the case of her own husband. The word idios. Idios means something different pertaining to one's self. That's the type of own that they mean. An example of pertaining to oneself is, okay, let's say people like flexing and everything, and they like, that's my city. Okay, like raised in Brooklyn. Brooklyn, that's my city. But is it literally exclusively your city? No, it's not. There's tens of thousands of hundreds of thousands of people that live there. That city belonged to all them people. So Idias in her own husband allows for her husband to also be the husband of another woman. Okay, or two or three. To prove the correctness on that, we can look at idios being found in Luke 2, chapter 3, where it basically says that everyone went to his own city to be taxed. Okay, so there we go. And that's idios there. So that's it. I didn't explain them two verses. And like you can like take that to the bank and cash that and everything. So let's see. It's an order word, not a number word. Case closed. You think it would be. That's why you got to say all that other stuff. You think that would be the end of it. Let's see here. Thank you for your videos. I learned so much. You're welcome. Thank you. We be trying over here. Robert Johnson says also when Nathan the prophet testifies the word to David after the Bathsheba. Yes, I've spoken on that one before, because people don't like to acknowledge the fact that Yahweh told David through Nathan that if you wanted more of anything, I would have given it to you. And on that list is wives. So like, why would he do that? Can you speak, if you think it applies here, about polygyny being by permission according to the Most High? You'd have to explain to me what you mean when you say by permission, because I don't quite understand. Are we saying, is it permitted by Yah? Because it is. And it just is, because never does he speak down on polygyny. He speaks down on divorce. He speaks down on illicit sex acts and not completing your marital ceremony and things like that. And he speaks down on a lot of stuff, but one thing he doesn't speak down on is polygyny ever. What goes on in those relationships got to do with them people. So all that bad that we're seeing throughout scripture is just humans being human and human nature, and not all the time are humans kind or fair. Okay, but yeah, tell me what you mean by that, Shelby Stokes, because I'm not sure. It says it can also mean the same as a father having multiple children, where they all have their own father. It is not exclusively theirs, but it is their own. Absolutely, 100%. That up, because I know that I didn't address it and I meant to, and I felt like it was really big because they both got it terribly wrong. And y'all know I don't like that other lady anyway. So so I'm about to head out of here. I've got a couple of other videos heading up that I'm scrolling to see them. May or may not be scripture based, but hopefully we'll all be edified anyway. It's definitely, obviously, gonna always be relationship based. So y'all be blessed. Shalom. What do they say? Like, comment, share, subscribe, and peace out.